Yes. Just looking for this build up. Right. So let us begin. Good afternoon, one and all, and welcome to another episode of Sports Shop, where we discuss everything and anything sport. This is an Andrew Sport and Entertainment production. Right, guys, and welcome one and all.
What's going on?
Okay, what's up, sir?
How's it going?
I know this is an Andrew Sport and Entertainment Consultancy production. I am your host, the Aki Samuel, with Mr. Gabe. We know it's WrestleMania season.
Yeah,
So, we know it's wrestle. That's all I have to say. We know it's WrestleMania season.
yeah,
I know. So, I thank you. God blessings to you, your friends, and your family, and thank you for being part of
yes,
this.
sir.
So, give you a synopsis of what I am and what my company does. I know you're probably wondering why this guy from Trinidad and Tobago reached out to you, but this is how faith works, and what my intention to do with this IG show slash podcast is to introduce everyone that it is possible to really this. Let me put it simply: this is the era of networking and
Yeah,
collaboration. There's so much you can do by yourself, but you get much more done when you work together.
yeah,
And really about introducing persons, not just the athletes locally, but regionally and internationally as well,
yeah.
in a broad diaspora of sport. So enough of me speaking. Let the fans know who you are.
Yeah, so Gabe Y over here, ex rugby player, ex WWE superstar, and now a professional football player. So kind of a wide array of a lot of different things kind of put into one, but always with the same purpose of just spreading positivity and happiness around.
All right, cool. So tell us a bit about your sporting background in terms of you said rugby. I played rugby as well. My father was a former professional rugby player as well. So tell us a bit of how you got your start in rugby.
Yeah, so back in 20 2017, I went into college out in Oregon, actually, Western Oregon University, and I started playing over there because one of my buddies, Trevor, actually invited me out. So I started playing just because it worked with my schedule. I had to handle school and a whole bunch of different things at the time. Um, and then I still wanted to be active. And the plan was I was always going to go back to football. I was going to go back and play college football. But my third year, as we know, COVID hit us all. Um, and I was already kind of falling out with my team, unfortunately. So I did actually end up stepping away for a little while. And I thought I was going to fully make my transition over to football, but at that time, I couldn't find a trainer because there was nothing open. So I ended up sending out my rugby film to a whole bunch of different colleges, and I got picked up by one of the best college programs, Division I rugby programs in the United States, Lindenwood University. So I ended up going over there on scholarship and transferring over there. Started a whole new different learning experience of rugby at that time. I really elevated my game at that point, and I was around a lot of really good rugby players, notable players, some who have made national squads, some who have a lot of them are playing professional rugby. Almost everybody that was graduated in my class played at least some level of professional rugby. Um, so I ended up doing that for most of the time, and then I got a DM one day from a WWE recruit thing, and it actually went to my request. So I was like, I didn't even see it. I almost never go into my request. Um, and it popped up, and I had ended up. We had just played a game against Army. We ended up losing to them, and I was just sifting through my phone. I wasn't really thinking about much, but I was planning on transferring for my master's and go play football somewhere actually. Um, and at that time, I had, I had, I had no clue that this was real. I thought it was a prank. I thought it was one of those people. It's like, hey, I'm gonna be your sugar daddy for $500. Like I thought it was one of those things. Like I really was like, yeah, right. And it was like a newish account at the time, but it had caught a lot of followers. So by the time I had actually looked at it, they were already verified. And so and this was back when you couldn't even pay for your verification. It was just you were like you're either verified or you're not verified. Um, and so I like responded to them, and within a week, I was already planning on flying out at the end of the semester out to Orlando, Florida. I flew out. Kind of just was the idea was just to go and do a tryout on a bigger stage than I've ever been on. And then I ended up making it, and was signed pretty quickly after the tryout, and then moved down here like 2 months later and did that for about 10 to 11 months, and then unfortunately, there's a lot of different things I could go into, but I was released, um, and with that, I kind of lost who I was as an athlete. I like I lost who I was. I ended up not. I like, stopped working out. I gained a lot of weight. Um, I was at that time. I was still drinking a good chunk. I don't drink now. That's the thing about me. I don't drink now. Um, but uh, if I do, it's like wine or something like that. I just don't. I'm not one of those people that goes out and drinks anymore. Um, but I used to be every single weekend type of thing. If I had a bad day, something like that, would need we're talking a case. We're not talking a couple beers. We're talking a case. And so unfortunately, I got distracted, and then um, I I did do a tryout immediately after I left WWE. I did a tryout with the football team. Um, and I didn't really think much of it. They were very impressed by my 40 time, um, but I, I was essentially at that time I was making a transition that I had like there was almost no shot of me making in my eyes at that time because I had really my confidence as an athlete had just really been torn down. Um, and then I ended up getting a call saying, "Hey, we're going to send over the contract. If you could look it over, welcome to the team." So I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'm playing arena ball now. Um, and at the same time, I got into the car business. So I was selling cars and I was doing arena ball. Um, and it started uh, like within the first couple weeks. It was just not something I liked. Um, Shout out to all my arena brothers out there, but it was just hard as a defensive end to really feel like you're an athlete, and I think some people who are defensive ends in arena can understand that because a lot of times it's not so much if you're an athlete, it's just who is bigger, um, and so you can't use your things like the people like Micah Parsons use, Joey Bosa use. You can't use those speed things. You can't use those tactics. You kind of have to be just bigger than the person, and it can be somebody that's not in shape. I saw guys who could barely keep up running 100 yards start on the offensive line just because it's such a small space. So I was like, I'm not really feeling this. So I actually asked if I could leave early. So I left the Predators early. And I also just didn't really feel like I was being put in the position that I was going to thrive in. So I kind of maybe sensed that I might get cut in this position. So I was like, let me refigure this out.
Hmm.
So then I go into kind of just figuring out like I'm not done as an athlete. There's just, I'm not stopping being an athlete. But I need to figure out where I'm going. Um, and with that, I had an opportunity to start boxing, and that was kind of where I was going to go. So I just started training, um, and then I kind of realized that boxing is going to take a while, which is it just is what it is. It takes a while, and for me, because I've done so many professional sports, I would not be allowed to go into the amateur side. So I would have to go straight to in Florida. You would have to go straight to pro boxing, which in my opinion, I was like, I have time if I want to circle back to that. I don't have time if I want to go play professional football or if I want to try to work my way back to WWE. I don't have time, um, which is kind of a crazy factor because I am still really young, um, but I'm also not. So, in the grand scheme of things, a 24-year-old going into a professional sport for his rookie year, that's
It's
not
kind of unheard of.
yeah, that's an older age. Um,
Yeah.
but so I was kind of figuring out what I was going to do. I was just working out, just trying to stay ready. And then I ended up finding the A7FL, which is the league I'm currently playing in right now. Um, and it's been a blessing to kind of be able to really test my skills and see where I'm at football wise. And thank goodness. I mean, I'm not gonna leak different things because the opportunity is not right in my face at this point of time. But I don't think that you won't see me in a professional league here soon. Um, I think that it will. There will be within a year. I will be playing on a professional football team, um, which is super exciting. But it's just more shooting as many shots as I can, um, and taking the opportunities that are given to me, by just allowing my hard work to finally maybe pay off. 'Cause it's a lot of early mornings, it's a lot of late nights. I work full time, um, but I'm not gonna stop until I'm back somewhere. So, um, I'm thankful for the WWE release. As weird as that sounds, I'm thankful for it. Because it really has brought me to the man I am today. And not only that, the athlete that I am today, because I don't think I would have ever achieved this level of athleticism with the mentality I used to have.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned the AFL 7 league, is it? Yeah. I'm following them. And I'm seeing good things about it. Um, well, your version of football is not mainstream in my country, but coming from the rugby diaspora, as I said, I played it, and my father was a former professional rugby player as well. Anything that is aligns itself similarly to that, I tend to like, and it attracts me. So Aussie rules, I like Aussie rules football.
Yeah.
I love the NFL. I'm a big Steelers fan,
Uh,
and yeah, I'm a big Steelers fan. Um, you spoke about the arena football. I like it. Again, once it's contact sport, I like it.
yeah.
But as you pointed out, it's not something particularly for you.
Yeah.
So, what are the pros? What is the difference in playing the AFL 7 league as compared to the arena football?
Uh, so I would say one, the AFL, it's allowing me to be who I am as an athlete. I'm not feeling forced into a position. I play a lot of different positions, and it's allowing me to be aggressive. That's another thing I would say. I also am playing on a field, and I have cleats on, so I'm able to dig into the ground versus like in arena you can't wear cleats. Um, it's all like sneakers.
Mm.
Uh, so you might wear some like indoor soccer shoes, but Like it's all sneakers. So I didn't mind that. I also I felt like maybe the team I was on, they just didn't really use fullbacks versus now I'm a running back, which I like. But also like a defensive end, you can only go out so far. Otherwise, the ball's already out because arena is so quick. It is a little bit of a different style. So they would always tell the offensive line, hold your blocks for like literally 2 to 3 seconds. 2 to 3 seconds in the NFL. If you only hold your blocks for 2 to 3 seconds, I will eat you up all day. As a defensive end, I will eat you up. If you can only hold me for 2 to 3 seconds, I will eat you up. But in there, 2 to 3 seconds is not a lot of time, um, and because we only have such a small space, my speed is good. But even getting around somebody or something like that, like it's just not. I'm not gonna flourish as much. Would I still be good in there? Would I still have gotten sacks? 100%. I don't doubt myself on that. But would I have been able to reach my full potential as an athlete? No, I don't think so.
Okay. In the AFL 7 League, you don't use no padding. Do you all run the full length of a football field,
Yeah,
or is it full
yeah,
length?
full
Okay, so
name.
7. Um, do you does do you see a good support system in terms of the corporate structure that backs the league? Are you comfortable with what you're seeing as an
Yeah, I would say I would say I do. I think I see more support from their corporate end than I did in indoor, actually. Um, so they're definitely like they'll reach out, they'll make sure that you're represented well, and they're not going to do anything that you feel uncomfortable with, and they'll give the proper people the light that they deserve.
okay? I get it. Are those rugby t-shirts or behind you there?
Yes, those are all the teams I have either retired with or I have played for. So amongst many others, but the my college ones I couldn't keep. But those are like the professional teams I've played for in sevens. Because there's a difference between 15s rugby and sevens rugby. So I was able to travel with a couple sevens rugby teams.
Okay. Seeing that rugby is probably one of the fastest growing sports in the world.
Yeah,
Rugby, it really is. It is. Um, what version do you prefer? Do you prefer the 15s or the 7s?
sevens, hands down. I've I think I've taken Evan's highlight film off of my Instagram, but when it was on my Instagram, like I, s- I say this in a very humble manner. I score a lot more in sevens than I do in 15s because of my size and because of my speed. It's a lot harder to tackle me in the open field. In 15s, it's hard to get into the open field.
It is. I grew up with 15s, seeing my father played it and stuff, but he played both 15 and 7s. So I understand that. If speed is your game, 7s is the game for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it had a lot of players I grew up with in high school that you're quick, but when you're starting off, you either play 10s or 12s, and even two or three extra players on the field
yeah,
creates a totally different scenario.
yeah, yeah,
And I was telling them that it's like I didn't want to use them here, or telling the coach to use them here. I was like, that's a total disadvantage. And initially they thought I was being I was blocked. I was like, no,
yeah.
put in 7. More open field where you can gallop and run. I see you'll see a totally different game.
Boom.
Totally different game. And then after that, they was high fiving me. So I may be young at the time, but I grew up in this sport, so I know. Um, you spoke about the WWE contacting you and getting a contract. Were you at the performance center only? Or
Yeah, yeah.
performance center? So tell us about that. What was the experience like in the performance center?
The experience, um, a lot of the story has been, I think, told and told and told now. Because my experience in there was great. Um, I had some really good people supporting me when I went in there. Um, but I think the hard part about it is when you're in college and everybody sees your athletic ability. Um, they see that you're going to go somewhere. So a lot of people hook onto you, and a lot of people are your friends. And then unfortunately, when all that comes crashing down and you're released, and there's nothing else being said about you, you see who your real friends are. And that's not a dig at anybody. I don't like to do anything like that. But it's just the reality of the world that when you have less to give somebody that's in front of them, um, it's unfortunately a lot of people leave your life. Um, so my experience in there was great. It was just hard to. I don't think I was mature enough to accept the opportunity at the time. Now I think I would kill it in there, but I think at the time I needed to have a pretty hard downfall for me to get the mentality that I have now. Um, and I'll be the first one to say, like, I wasn't mature enough. I was there's multiple different things, but the main one, I was extremely girl crazy. I was extremely unfocused. I hadn't been able to wrap my head around just like sport anxiety. That's a huge thing in a lot of professional sports, sport anxiety. Um, if people think we don't experience it, we do, because almost every professional sport out there, if you a lot of athletes will go into a game not constantly thinking about it, but the reality is, if you have a really bad game, you could be traded, you could be cut, um, you could be booted. Like there's a whole bunch of different things that can happen to you because on the contract you can be boom, you can be done with. So a lot of times when people first start out, especially coming from rugby, how rugby is so minuscule compared to, like, say, American football or um, other sports that are at a D1 level. Rugby's way down here with the fans, the people, the everything. Um, so it just wasn't something I feel like I could fathom at the time. So then when I got with WWE, I was just like all crazy. Um, and so it was a good experience to be make me a man at the end of the day.
During your tenure in the performance center, who who do we see now that in the whether it be NXT or the main brands of SmackDown and Raw
Yeah,
or probably AEW or any
yeah.
who do we see now that you trained with?
Oh, if I'm not mistaken, my whole class is still in there. Like the kinds of, say, Lucian Price, Bronco Nima, those are still to this day two of my best friends. Um, like two of my very best friends. Lucian Price is he's my older brother. Um, he's taught me a lot. He's really helped me kind of transition back into the normal world, and also just kind of he's taught me a lot mentally. Uh, One of my other good friends, Lola Vice, she's helping me with a lot of stuff, just transitioning and just understanding yourself, kind of refinding yourself. And then you have Miles Bourne is still in there. You have Stax Lorenzo. You have Ariana Grace. You have, um, uh, it's hard because I'm trying to also differentiate their real names from their
What kind
from
of
their
name?
ring name. Kiana James. Um, You have one of my really, really good friends that's still to this day like a mentor that we still consistently talk, Apollo Creed. Um, I took a lot of pointers from Ridge Holland at the time too, because he was a rugby guy transferring in. Zion Queen was a rugby guy transferring in. Um, I took a lot of things from a lot of different people. The Creed brothers, uh, Trick Williams. Like I took a lot of different pointers from a lot of
Rick,
different people.
that boy going
Good friend.
someplace, man.
Yeah,
He's going somewhere, man.
yeah,
Trick William, yo,
yeah.
the boy
Uh,
going somewhere.
but yeah, I mean, I took a lot of different things from a lot of different people. I always was trying to pick somebody's brain. That was one thing that I always, no matter what happened in there or outside, or even now to this day, hard work has always been like my middle name. Like it's not something I'm ever scared of. So it was definitely always just trying to figure out what can I do to make my craft better.
Okay. Um, Seeing that we're gonna wrap up now. I know you're busy and we want to get ready for 7 p.m. when it starts. Seeing that it's WrestleMania season, um, give me your views on night one yesterday.
Um, I personally think that Stand and Deliver was almost more interesting than the main roster. Um, Rhea Ripley, obviously, her matches, she's extremely good. She's extremely good at just making it uh, real and making it raw. You know what I mean? Um, and then obviously I mean, the Rock was a very interesting one. And then I was really happy to see somebody I looked up to when I was with NXT, Grayson Waller, finally belt that he deserves. That man's a hard worker. Um, as much as he does like to talk crap and everything like that, that man is a hard worker. So he deserves it. Um, but way overdue, but he definitely deserves it. So it was cool to see. It's always cool to see people um, that you've been beside and you know how they are as genuine people, um, and how I guess non-celebrity like they are, and how much they're just down to earth real people. So it's always good to see that. I'm excited to see night two. I think it's going to be real interesting. Um, Especially since with the Rock winning, with the Rock and Roman, kind of having a little bit of a moment yesterday when Roman speared him. Um, it's going to be interesting because, as we know, the final boss is a reason for why he's called the final boss. So we'll see what that animosity brings up over it's either going to be tonight or it's going to be foreshadowing into the weeks to come. So I'm excited. It's always entertaining.
Yeah, man. Who you got for the main event for tonight, man? Tribal Chief or Unite Me?
I actually have nightmare. I think that I I just have a sense um that something's gonna happen, and I think you need a I think on night two you need a belt switch. I think somebody needs to have a belt switch, and it's either gonna be him or it's gonna be because Logan Paul's tonight, right? I believe.
And Bailey's tonight as well.
So the way I see it, if Logan wins, if Logan retains, then I would force I would foresee that they would switch with Cody because I do think that that's going to be a thing over the next year. I think it's going to be Cody, Roman, and The Rock is going to become a factor, and I think that belt is going to kind of fly around for a little bit after it's been on somebody for so long. That's just a thought, but I do kind of see that happening.
All right. Well, Mr. Gabe, I thank you very much for your time and
Thanks.
your tenure. And just want to thank you and wish you God's blessing on your future endeavors. It has been a bit of a roller coaster in terms of your career, but everything happens for a reason. And as you said, you're holding feet and you're going to be on an NFL team in a year's time. And I'll be looking forward to that. And I will be celebrating and letting everyone know I interviewed you.
Yeah,
You're
and we
gonna do great.
can
And
always do it. We can always do it again after.
of course,
We can
why
always.
not do it again? So I just want to say God bless. Have a safe evening and see you all later, my friend.
Yes, sir. You as well.
Yeah, sign off on your end.
Yes, sir.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That brings us to the end of Sports Shop, where we discuss everything and anything sport. We have Mr. Gabe, the professional football player, the AFL 7 League. That is a 7-on-7 American style football. I just want to say thank you all for being here. This is great news. Great things to come. We'll continue with the JV interview/podcast. We are hoping to get we are hoping to get bigger and better with what we do. So I just want to say God's blessings to you. This is an Andrew Sport and Entertainment Consultancy production. Sports Shop. We discuss everything and anything sport. I am your host, the Aki Samuelson. God bless and good night.